not looking, we're 27.67 even. We're up 23 and a half handles, or up 0.85%. Man, total volume, 1.25 million minis trade. And the MIM, which was about 800 million to buy, is only 300 million to buy. There's our guy. There's our guy. Love him, hate him, dislike him, whatever you like to say. he never fails to blow things up, does he? I guess, you know, at the end of the day, though, I think he's going to have troubled waters ahead. I think the way that the Democrats are set up now, they're just going to block everything. It's just back to shit with this stuff. But anyways, right now, I think what's going on, it's max pain for the shorts. They're not letting anybody breathe. Anybody that's long, that trades these futures, they see the S&P up, they think, oh, you know what, this sell a few, you know, and then they pull back a little bit, and then they go ripping higher. And that's the price action of what this markets are about right now. Don't believe any shit. You know what the thing is about this China bullshit? Is that we're never going to know the complete deal. And at the end of the day, the two largest economies in the world, if they continue to duke it out, millions of people are going to lose jobs. So behind the curtain, you've got President Trump, you got President Xi, market's rigged, absolutely. You got President Xi and Trump both struggling to try to find common ground. But you know what? The big problem is intellectual property. China is an intellectual property thief. Look at their military. Look at their jets. Look at you take one of our F-35s and you look at their new stealth jets. That's the same fucking jet. How the fuck did anybody get a duplicate? Well, you know what? Because it's a non-stop hackathon. They're hacking everything that we've got. The people told me a long time ago that the U.S. will always have an edge around the world, over Russia, over China. And you know what? He says that the U.S. will always be the #1 technology country in the world for now and forever. And all they do is hack our shit. And then we're supposed to sit across from the fucking table from them, and we're supposed to negotiate in good faith? Fuck that. I'm tired of this bullshit. I really am. I'm tired of the headlines. I'm tired of the lies. And you know what? At the end of the day, all it does is fuck up everything. It's just messing up everything. China goods made. Yeah, cheap. Well, you know what the problem is? They produce one of our F-35s for probably a third of the cost because they had no investment in trying to build the technology. They just grab everything. And you know what I say? I say no deal. I wouldn't do a deal with China. I'd let them starve. If the United States has to see a downturn in its economy because we're trying to straighten it out and make a level playing field, then let it happen. With the S&P up over 300%, 320% since its contract highs or whatever it is, who cares? We're due for a correction. But you know what? For us to sit around and watch this crap go on back and forth, oh, you're going to extend the tariff talks? Why? Get those assholes over here and negotiate a deal. And if you can't deal, close the fucking books on it. Close the books on it. Now, one of the things that I'm concerned, and I've been concerned about, is the VIX. The VIX is under 15. And over the last couple of days, when the S&P was going up, the VIX was going up. Generally, that's not a good sign. Too bad we've decided we want everything cheap. Yeah, no, we don't want anything more cheap. Cheap is not good. Cheap is... Remember when you were a kid or you were growing up and everybody would say, oh, where was that made? And you turn it over and you'd say, made in China, and people would go, oh. Well, you know what? All our goods are made in China now. The U.S. gave up all its manufacturing years ago. And you know what the thing is? We got to get that back, and we got to keep that back, and we got to keep our growth going. But at the end of the day, not at the cost of our intellectual property and everything else. Computer chips, iPhones, everything. They're stealing everything. And that goddamn company, what is it called? The phone company in China, Hua or whatever it is, they're a bunch of crooks. Throw that lady in jail in Canada. When she goes up there and she goes to testify, They got so much shit on her. I read all about it. Throw her in
Let me
jail.
expand it
Who
over
cares
here.
what the fucking Chinese say? I know one thing. People across the United States, they look at it like, oh, well, you know, we shouldn't be doing that. No. You know what? They're up there in Canada and they're stealing trade secrets and they're stealing technology. And that's because, you know what? We just let them walk into our country and steal everything. Why? I agree. Play hardball with these guys. But anyways, so Trump signs a spending bill, right? I'm sorry about all the F-bombs. Trump signs a spending bill, and then he declares a state of an emergency over the border wall that is going to ignite another battle over the legitimacy or the legality of building the wall or border security. Build the wall. Why is, if we can mark up $4 trillion in QE to support our markets after the credit crisis, why can't we spend $4 billion and build the fucking wall? You know what they say? In the next 50 years, if we don't straighten out our immigration programs, there's going to be over 75 million immigrants 75 million more immigrants in the U.S. Well, I don't know if I don't know what it is. I think it's a fucking politics. Nobody's got any common sense. But could you imagine this? In 30 to 50 years, we would have 75 million more immigrants in the United States. All those liberals that think that's okay, where are they going to get health care? Where are they going to get money to live? Where are they going to get medical? They're going to get it all for free. It's going to come out of your pocket and my pocket, and I'm damn tired of it. But anyways, yesterday there was little or no progress. This is the way this works. That's why I named today's show "The World of Disinformation and Headline Algos." Yesterday, and we all know about this, the S&P was trending higher, and then all of a sudden, out comes that headline that there's little or no progress being made in the China tariff talks, and then all of a sudden today, it's like everything's fine. How's that? The only one that wins in that, the only ones that win in that are the electronic programs that just tick, that you make a mistake with your trade, you put a stop in. It's almost like you shouldn't even put in stops. I hate to say this. I'm completely against not having a game plan or not having risk control. But you know what? I bet, and you guys can talk back to me about this. I bet that 80% of the trades that we make or you make, that once you get stopped out, they end up going your way. Diverting bad news and fake news. Exactly. Kudlow calls the glitch. Yeah. This is, you know what the thing is, it's not a fair and level playing ground. We are outgunned by places like Renaissance Capital, Citadel. God, just name off all these high-frequency trading firms. They're not at risk. Once the volatility starts going ballistic, those systems will take on less risk. That's the way they've geared it. I don't know how much. If you've ever heard of Renaissance Capital, and you should look it up. It's one of the most successful hedge fund in the world. They never close. No, they never lose. They never lose, and that's a shame, you know. And the thing is, where do they make their money from? Where is it that you think they make their money from? They make it from the dummies like me and other people that are buying and selling in the S&P or the NASDAQ or any futures, gold, corn, currencies. It's broad based now. It's in everything. It's even in the options markets. But again, did the CME forget all those years of building that business in the pits and all those customers that used to put in paper orders and buy and sell? I can't see the TV. Oh, you want to see the TV. Fidelity Investments. Anyways, did they forget how these exchanges were built? They were built on brick and mortar. It was on the blood, sweat, and tears of traders that had their money on the line, their stops getting run in the pit. But, you know, everything has its day, and I understand that technology has to advance. But this type of technology is criminal. I don't care what anybody says. This is not right. The total volume in the S&P, 80 to 85% of the daily volume in the S&P futures is high frequency trading. Where have all the people gone? Where have the humans gone? We're done. We're extinct. We're not coming back. It's like what I talked about a little while ago. There is no way in the world that this business, Quant Guy Genius, yes he is, and that's the way to go. You know, I got a couple of emails in the last couple of days from people wanting to get into the boot camp that for whatever reason they wanted a link or whatever. And one of these kids was a young guy, and he said, listen, I'm 24 years old. I've been following you for the past 6 years. He goes, I really like what you do. You know, you say it like it is. You're honest, you make, you lose, you admit that you're trading bad, you lose. That's the way it goes. You know, and I said, well, I appreciate it. You know, I emailed him back, and he emailed me back. He said, I want to be a trader. Do you have any real ideas for what I could do if I want to be a trader? And I said, look, you know, there's what I call fake prop trading firms. There's all sorts of real prop trading firms. And these prop trading firms, if you're a young 24-year-old, 25-year-old guy, you've got a good education, you know a little bit about the markets, or you know a little bit about coding or something, you can walk right into those firms. And I know a lot of them. But this one kid, he emailed me like 3 or 4 times in 2 days. He said, oh, can you give me a list of these companies? Well, I'll tell you what, who's not real. It's those, well, one of them bears my name, bears the Mr. Top Step name. And all these reviews that I read about that company in Chicago, the Combine my ass. You know what I mean? The Combine is not real. You get a little bit of money, you work your ass off to get to that point, and then you make one little mistake, and then they throw you out. Then you got to go back in the Combine. Well, what do you mean? That's not a prop trading firm. That's a money giving out money to little retail traders, charging them a higher commission and charging you a fee to take their class to get a little account. It's all fake. It's all fake. That is not prop trading. Prop trading was like what Raj was doing at Bank of America. Or I'm not going to name any right now because you know what, you guys could research, but we used to do a lot of business for a lot of prop trading firms. You know what a prop trading firm is? A prop trading firm is a guy that with a desk of guys with all sorts of heavy duty equipment in front of them and computers, and they're following volatility, they're trading, they get an edge on an order. Let's say that the S&P options or the OEX options are quoting up in options. A big order comes in and the guy in the pit says, hey, what's the 2,800 calls? The guy says, oh, the 2,800 calls are this price at that price, right? And so there's a spread in between there. So the prop firm tightens up the bid offer, and then the customer comes in and he gets to lift the offer or hit the bid. Once that trade is made, the prop trader assumes the risk of that trade. He can hedge it, he can put it into his book like Raj used to do, or immediately just write up, do the S&Ps against it right away. Then they're hedged, so they're all constantly taking the other side's of trade. That's not what these hokey pokey prop trading firms in Chicago, where you have to sign up, you have to take their class, you have to do all this shit to jump through hoops to get into this little account where you get 5, 10 grand, 15 grand worth of, but if you lose like 3% if you lose more than 1 or 2% in a day, they cut you off, or, that's not real. That's not real. That's like Trump's fake news. It is fake news. And anybody that believes in any of that is silly dilly. Just really, it's just stupid stuff. But anyways, I'm glad I got that off my chest. I feel good about it. I don't care what the CME says. They sold everybody out. This is not the game. This is not our father. These are not our father's markets. These are not the games we used to play. And you know what? At the end of the day, the CME price keeps going up. The floor keeps getting smaller. How do you think that works? How is that? That's because all those high-frequency algorithmic trading firms do 10 times the volume of a little guy trading his own account. It's almost like they just let the steamroller run right over us. They had no concern about where they came from or how these floors were made and what they were made up of. It's a farce. It's an absolute farce. But anyways, get back to some other stuff. I want to go over some 200-day moving averages. The ES 200-day moving average is 27.46.43. We're a little below that right now. Well, no, we're a little above there. The futures are a little above there. And the NASDAQ, we're 70.65.95. We're a little below there. And in the YM, the Dow futures, I've got 25.039 as the daily moving average. And in crude, I've got 61.78, which we're well above. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about gold. Gold is failing. As the S&P goes up, I talked about this. I thought that gold could, if it could get above 13.18, it could maybe clear and get up to 13.25. You could maybe go higher. Gold seems like it's losing its shine, its zeal. The S&P, you know what? I talked about this about a week ago. I think the word that best sticks out for what's going on in these futures markets is melt up. It's a melt up. They're going up every day. The S&P is up over 20% from its December's lows. That, my friends, the S&P is up over 400 and something handles, 430 handles from its low. And that was only, I went back, I can't remember exactly. It was like 40 trading sessions ago. I got to go back and I got to look at it, but let's just say it's 40 sessions ago. So the S&P in 40 sessions has rallied over 400 handles. I've seen a lot of shit in my life, and I claim, or I say, I have been part of every major market move since 1985, and I don't care what anybody says. I had never seen anything like that sell-off that started at the end of September. But on the flip side of that, I've never seen a rally like this. It's, yeah, SPY high day. See, they're going to close out this shit on the high of the day. And you know what? We got a 3-day weekend here. You would think with the markets up so much, there'd be a little risk-off trade because you know what? Healthier, untouched markets. Yeah, well, that's what, if you're, you know what, if you're got a mutual fund, my hat's off to you. You're doing great. Don't, you know, I said last year, I talked about my neighbors, Wolfgang and Louise, and how when the S&P was up on its highs of the year, they asked me what I thought. I said, you know what? I just take 20% off for shits and grins and hope I'm wrong. Well, I wasn't wrong. I was right. That's a 40% swing from high to low. That's enormous. When was the last time that we saw 40% move, 20 down and 20 back up? I haven't ever. Can any of you remember something like this? I can't. But anyways, I'm going to get off to a little on the little lighter side here. Okay. We spent a lot of time on this boot camp, and there's a lot of people signing up. We've got a quality lineup. We really do. David Dubé, Raj. I mean, Raj is going to put on a show. Kevin Coy. I mean, I can't even think of everybody. Jeff Hirsch from the Stock Traders Almanac. I talked about this a couple days ago. But even if you're not a trader, we've offered this carte blanche. No, we're sucking up all the costs. We're working for free. We're not asking for anything. We're not like all these other jerk offs on Twitter where, take my product and you take the product, you see the guy win every day, and then all of a sudden you take the product and all of a sudden you lose every day. What's that? Come on. That's not real trading. That's fake trading. And like I said a couple days ago, I went and I looked up the top traders on Twitter. The list was from 2017. There was like 15 names in there and only 3 or 4 are left. Come on, let's be honest about this. The 90 rule is real. It takes 90 days for 90% of the people to lose 90% of their money. What's the MOC today? I don't know. So you got to look on Twitter. I think John Doherty or Fair Value Trader, put up the meme, would you please? But anyways, you guys, I just had this kind of building up in me, and I get aggravated. It's not like I'm like everybody. Make a little, make a little, make a little, take a shit. Make a little, make a little, make a little, lose. Make a little, make a little, lose. I'm up money on the year right now, and I've done fairly well over the last couple of weeks, but I think I'm just one step away from losing everything I've made. You make one mistake, it's like a slippery path. You just make one mistake, and ba-boom, you're out. You got to start all over again. And somebody said, well, if you were down $2,000 last week, don't think of it like that way. Just move into the next week. No, in my head, if I was down $2,000 last week, I got to make that $2,000 back. I don't see how that works. Oh, you lost $2,000 last week, but now you're making money this week. Well, did you forget that you lost $2,000 last week? No, you got to go back. You got to make that money back in order to be, and I do that. I struggle. Sometimes I lose $2,000, $3,000, and then I got to just hammer away. Get in, get out, get in, get out. It wears you out. But anyways, I really do hope that you guys or anybody else that gets to see this video decides to really embrace the Mr. Top Step Bootcamp. You know what? We did these Google Analytics. The main thing that people asked about was that they wanted more boot camps. They thought that that was one of the best things that we did. And I believe in my heart of hearts, that is what we do. We're traders. We want to share information. And I'll tell you what, there's a hell of a lot of sharing going on. Your life will let you know what you lost last night. Yeah, well, that's a whole different story. Forget about it. When I try to talk to my wife about this stuff, investing, long-term savings, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. There's such a short-term mind there that I get scared. I get scared. I don't even know what to say anymore. Look, somewhere in here, you've got to make these decisions about what you're going to do when you're 50, what you're going to do when you're 60, what you're going to do when you're 70. You have 80. I mean, geez, I don't think I'm going to make it to 80, but the thing is, I think what the real deal is that you have to have a financial game plan. And like I said, I went over to Chase Bank and they called me today. I didn't go back over there. I know the guy did a bunch of work and he called me up. And he said, hey, Danny, I said, it's John over at Chase Bank. I'm waiting on you. I said, John, listen, I'll come back over next week. I said, I got some stuff going on here that we're working on. I couldn't get out. I tried to call you. But I thought to myself, I felt like saying, hey, John, I'm not doing anything for 3%. I'm not locking up my money for 3%. My plan is over the next 6 months, a year, whatever, I'm waiting for a sell-off. And then, then I'm going to call Vanguard, because I believe that Vanguard, out of all the mutual funds, when the S&P is up, you reap most of that benefit. But when the S&P is down hard, you don't lose as much. They're very good on the downside about maintaining profits and keeping these accounts together. So what I want to do is I want to stagger some money into Vanguard, into an S&P fund. Maybe X dollars this month, pick a number, and every month over the next year and a half, just put that money in and just kind of average in. Now, do I think that there's risk in that? I do. I still believe that somewhere in here, we're going to wake up one morning and there's going to be hell to pay for on the downside. But you know what? If you constantly think that, you're going to constantly miss the market. So you got to find it in yourself to step up to the plate and get in there somewhere. You know what I mean? You can't just, do the Warren Buffett thing where everything falls apart and he puts in billions of dollars. We don't have that kind of money. We don't have that luxury. But that said, I don't know, you guys. This is not an easy world. This is not. It's not. And I think there's potential for bad things to happen. But we also think that when the Fed decided to step back from its rate hikes, and I told the Pitbull this just a little while ago, he's like, "What do you think?" And I said, "Marty, this feels to me, and you guys can tell me too what you think. This feels to me that it's almost like when it was 2017. Now that the Fed is no more a threat, yeah, flip-flop. You got to flip flop in these markets. I was bearish a couple weeks ago, but anyways, I told the people, I said, look, I said it reminds me like we're back in the QE thing again. Like if the markets fall apart, the PPT will be right there. Yeah, QE4, absolutely, I agree. And maybe they're not doing it right now, but just the fact that they're stepping away from these rate hikes tells me that this is back into that thing where the market sells off a little bit, rallies more, sells off a little bit, goes back higher. That's the same price action we've seen for so many years. I mean, 2011, 2012, 13, really more toward 14, 15, 16, and 17. And that was a great time. Intervention is rightful. Right. Yeah, it is. It is, no doubt about it. But it really does, to me, feel that the Fed's supporting the government, supporting the markets again. And if that's the case, then you know what? The option premium sellers are the best trade on the street. Sell some lower puts, sell some higher calls, hope the futures don't go up too high or go down a little too far, and just collect that premium and forget the rest of it. And forget it. Because you know what? I think even if we do sell off hard, the government's going to rush right back in. They've got no choice. This is what they created. They created this monster. They had no way. I don't know what other choices they had to keep the government together and money flowing, but they came up with these quantitative easing products. And you know what? I don't think they're going away. I think they're right there. They're alive and well. So anyways, before I go, well, you know what? I mean, they've already supported $4 trillion. Who says they couldn't do a couple more if they had to? I mean, come on. But anyways, thank you. I appreciate it. It is valuable stuff. And you know what the thing is? It's unbiased. We're not, when you go into boot camp, we're not trying to sell you anything. I mean, we've already got a couple hundred people signed up for it. And we're not in there saying, here, could you give us your phone number? Like there's a certain guy in Chicago, I think we all know, got a company, kind of disappeared recently, and he's got a bunch of guys in a boiler room, and everybody's going, I remember being up in this particular office one day, and they were showing me the office, and that was when I was still on the floor. This is like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I ran into the guy, and you guys could probably mention his name, but anyways, he's like, hey, Danny, why don't you come up and see our office? I said, oh, okay. I go up in the office, and he's in this little glass office, all these computers around. He's talking to me about his systems, and I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, these aren't systems. These are some platforms, indicators, and you're just got them up on your screen, and you're making things up here. And he's like, come on out of my sales room. And there's like 20 guys in the sales room, and I'm standing over this one guy, and he says, I hear him say, come on, man, who wears the pants in your family? I know you lost some money with us last time, but come on, put up another 50 grand or another 100 grand. We'll get all your money back this time. No. Don't fall for any of that shit. And does anybody know who I'm talking about? Come on, somebody's got to know who I'm talking about. We haven't seen him lately. He used to be on CNBC, and now he's got a couple other guys up, but you never see him anymore. He's kind of disappeared. No, not Jack. Come on. Claims to have made $1 million in the S&P pit. Come on, you know who I'm talking about. This shouldn't be too hard. I'll give you his initials. LL, not Lenny. You almost got it. Come on, not Lenny. Come on, you guys. All right, well, there you go. There you go. Where'd he go? What happened to him? Jesus. But anyways, I'm going to leave it like that, you guys. Before I go, I want to show you what's going on in my neck of the woods. Come on. You can't beat that, right? Small house, gone way up in value, great investment. That's where it's at. If you don't own your own home, that's one of your best investments that you can make. Sit around and you're beating yourself up. I feel, you want me to jump in right now with my clothes on? You want me to do a belly flop with all my clothes on? You want me to do it? You do? I got, all right, hold on. All right. This is really. Ah! All right. That's it. Right? Oh, Jesus. I'm crazy. My dog thinks I'm crazy. How'd you like that? All right, you guys. Have a great weekend. Please join the boot camp. I know everybody thinks I'm nuts.